everyone, welcome to Glow Guys.
We're here in the lounge at Barcelona Airport, and this represents the start of our first trip outside of Europe in a long while due to the COVID pandemic, of course. And today we're off to Dubai. So we're flying with Air France in business class, first of all to Paris Charles de Gaulle on one of their Airbus A320s. So we're going to be experiencing their European business class, and then we'll be on a 777 all the way to Dubai in business class there. So we're going to be checking out the long haul product as well as a short haul. We're really looking forward to this flight. It's a long time coming. So stay with us and experience the flight with us.
Air France used a VIP Sala lounge in Barcelona, and we arrived just before it opened. After a bite to eat and a coffee, it was time to head to the gate. The 17-year-old Airbus A320 had night stopped in Barcelona, and so boarding commenced on time, and we were amongst the first to actually board.
This morning, the business class was configured to 4 rows and was your standard European business class with the middle seat blocked out. This KLM 737 had also night stopped in Barcelona and was waiting to depart to Amsterdam. We were given a hand towel and a disinfectant wipe, a sure sign of air travel in 2021.
The seat was reasonably comfortable, and being on row 1 there was a good amount of leg room, but seat 1C is a little bit exposed, and I kept getting knocked as the other passengers boarded.
CMC au pas. Armement des toboggans. Vérification de la porte opposée.
We departed on time, but given it was an early morning, and took off over the Mediterranean. The views were, well, a little uninspiring.
We were served breakfast. I had tea and Ivan had coffee, which disappointingly was served in paper cups, but we did also have an orange juice, and this was served in glass. The breakfast was perhaps the most bizarre we've ever been served on a flight. Cheese sandwiches with stone cold pancakes and a side garnish of pineapple. It wasn't enjoyable, but luckily we were offered something more conventional for the first meal of the day in the form of a croissant and a bowl of fruit.
Today's A320 was equipped with Wi-Fi, as are all their aircraft. They offer 3 different Wi-Fi access passes, with the first being free of charge and sufficient for sending WhatsApp and iMessage text. The sun started to rise, and after an hour and 40 minutes we were descending into a damp and dreary Paris.
We arrived on time, and as is usually the case in Charles de Gaulle, we had a long taxi to our parking gate, giving us plenty of time to see the many other Air France aircraft, officers, and the legendary Concorde taking pride of place.
So here we are in Paris Charles de Gaulle. We flew up from Barcelona this morning on Air France's short-haul business class, and it was just your standard European business class, but the breakfast was really weird.
It was cold pancakes, cold sandwiches, that was about it. Very more afternoon tea like.
Yeah, I mean, it got croissant, I guess, but it just didn't feel like breakfast to me. It was a bit of a mishmash. And then we arrived here, we're in the lounge. The lounge again is just okay. For a flagship lounge, it's not that great, to be honest.
No, we've been in much better lounges.
It's just very average.
Average, definitely average, that's about it, you know.
And to be fair, British Airways gets a lot of stick, but
It does.
I think Club Europe is generally better than the Air France European business class. And the galleries lounges in Heathrow are better as well.
Absolutely, you know, we've experienced that literally yesterday, so we're talking very recent, you know, here. And
But all's not lost, because we've still got high hopes for our 777 flight to Dubai. We're just about to go out to the gate now, so we're looking forward to that, and we'll see you guys on board.
we will.
So the lounge we used in Charles de Gaulle was the Air France lounge on Concourse K. When we first arrived, it was incredibly busy, but it did quieten down later on during our stay. There are some views of aircraft out on the ramp, which is always good for those of us that like to watch, but it wasn't a particularly comfortable or elegant lounge.
The food, however, was quite good, and there was a reasonable drink selection, though the sparkling wine was not champagne. The lounge boasts a Clarence spa, but curiously, this doesn't open on Wednesdays. This was really disappointing and quite strange. What do you think? Have you visited the spa? Leave us your comments.
It was soon time to board our flight to Dubai. We initially believed that we were headed to a remote stand, but the airside bus actually took us to an airbridge equipped stand, so when we got off the bus we headed up the gate tower and down the bridge to our waiting aircraft. Our aircraft this afternoon was a Boeing 777-300, one of my favourite wide-bodied aircraft.
The business class cabin is configured in a 1-2-1 herringbone configuration, and it wasn't long before Ryan settled in. We haven't travelled long haul much during the pandemic, and we've really missed settling in for a long flight with a glass of champagne. Air France serve Royal Pommery champagne, and we enjoyed this during a very slow boarding process.
So, let's start to take a look at the Cirrus Zodiac seat on board this 777. It was a comfortable and reasonably wide seat with blue fabrics, neutral surroundings and red accents that matched the Air France brand. The footwell was large and unrestricted with several seating positions to get comfortable in. There are several storage options, including this little cupboard just over your shoulder, It's also where you'll find your noise cancelling headphones. These are reasonably good quality and comfortable to wear.
The TV lets us seat down though. It's small in size and we dislike the design that requires it to be stowed away for takeoff and landing. Meanwhile, the table is reasonably big and we like how you can make it smaller and move it away to allow you to get out of your seats. And finally, with everyone on board, we push back and headed for the runway.
Amenity, cependant. Et vérification du rapport proposé.
Put down on the red handle. Please, only when you are outside the aircraft.
Soon ready for takeoff. I love the 777 and I love the 777 engines. Just listen to them as we accelerate down the runway. Soon after takeoff, we were served with our chosen drink from the bar, a gin and tonic. The menu didn't specify what gin was being served and we didn't ask, but it went down very well as I began to relax.
And I tucked into the in-flight entertainment.
A light tonic option would have been a nice touch, but equally not a big issue either. It was soon time to eat, and we were hoping to have a better experience than our breakfast from Barcelona. We'd heard good things and our fingers were crossed.
There were 2 red wines and 2 white wines to choose from with dinner, and we couldn't decide on a red, so we had both. The salmon starter was the only appetizer offered, but it was delicious and worked well. And to be fair, smoked salmon is an easy option for a starter, but they got it right and it tasted really fresh.
We both had the beef tornadoes for main, which was served with a rich stew. The dish also was served with beetroot, a combination that we have never tried before, but it complemented the beef really well and it was really tasty. Like the starter, there was only one dessert option, but it was a trio of desserts, including a very nice opera cake. And who doesn't like cake?
And here's Ryan struggling to eat his before washing it down with an espresso. I had a cappuccino.
On our seat when we boarded were a soft cushion and a reasonable duvet. It didn't feel particularly luxurious, but I didn't use it anyway. Feeling content, however, I settled down for a post-dinner snooze, until someone shoved a camera in my face.
Now I opted to watch a movie. The IFE selection, it was reasonable. The new releases were pretty limited, if I'm being honest, but that was mainly due to the pandemic.
A quick visit to the little boys' room now, and the business class toilet on board this flight was fine but nothing amazing. The only real difference from those in economy were a couple of Clarins products, though I liked the presentation.
On the way back to his seat, Ryan stopped off at the galley buffet for a drink. Airlines are increasingly fitting their galleys with this kind of thing, and to be fair, we love it.
When we boarded, we were handed an amenity kit. This was unisex and fairly standard in nature, but I like the fact that it contains a shoehorn and a cloth for glasses, which is also handy for wiping the screen on your electronic devices. The branded products, meanwhile, were from Clarins.
Before landing, we were expecting a light snack of salmon quiche and zucchini, but this, rather surprisingly, wasn't actually served, and we aren't sure why, but hey, it was a short flight by long-haul standards.
We were soon on our approach into Dubai. So what did we think about our Air France experience? Well, after a rather bland flight from Barcelona to Paris, we can say that Air France to Dubai met our expectations.
The seat was comfortable, but it wasn't terribly groundbreaking, and the ambience of the cabin with its sophisticated colours did make for a relaxing flight to the Middle East.
The in-flight service, aside from the pre-landing snack not being served, was very good, with attentive crew and good food. Being a French carrier, it's not surprising that the wine served was very good, and the crew even gave us a little wine tasting session along the way.
We would not hesitate to fly Air France business class on the long-haul flight. Yes, the short-haul sector was very average, but the fare was great value and one of the reasons we started our journey in Barcelona and will return to Madrid. Stay tuned for further reviews of those return flights, this time on KLM and Air Europa.
In the meantime though, if you've loved this review, please leave us a thumbs up or a comment maybe, and we'd also love you to subscribe to our channel and experience our travels. Take care, and we'll see you again soon.